Beware. Hello, my YouTube Premium subscribers, and welcome back to Viewer Beware, the only show where we go over each and every episode of the original Goosebumps TV series. And tonight we have a very special episode for you, not just because it's the season finale of Season 2, or because it's a two-parter, but it's the triumphant return of the iconic Slappy the Dummy.
Hey, I'm iconic too.
Sure you are, pal. Well, anyway, if you remember our last Slappy tale, you'll know it ended with his skull being smashed on a fireplace. Can we roll that footage, please? Beautiful. A truly moving piece of film.
I never died in my episodes. Just saying.
We get it. You're a cool bad guy. We're moving on. Where does that leave us with Slappy then? How is he going to be a menacing bad guy with no head? Simple, really. You just kind of glue it back together and ship it to the next family. Problem solved. And that's the story of Night of the Living Dummy Part 3. A brother and sister have to host their dweeb cousin played by a young Anakin Skywalker. Not that one, though. The other one. The more genocidal one. And they like to play pranks on this kid until, a new dummy in the house makes things go a little strange. Sure, we've seen it before, but have we seen it with a dummy in the water cooler? I don't think so. So, with that being said, my friends, let's get ready for a long night with Slappy the Dummy.
Hello, I'm R.L. Stine. I write the Goosebumps books.
We start with some sick ventriloquist work from the GOAT R.L. Stine. Today's adventure starts with the strange man carrying a trunk up a staircase in the middle of the night, freaking out our hero Trina. Trina walks up to the attic to investigate but discovers nothing but dummies until one talks back.
Hello, Trina. You shouldn't be here. It's past your bedtime.
At first, Trina just thinks it's her brother Dan, but he shows up in the attic behind her. Turns out it was just the kid's dad playing a strange prank in the middle of the night.
Hi guys, gotcha.
Turns out Dad is a retired ventriloquist that just purchased a new dummy, who may look familiar to the audience. Dad plans to restore Slappy to his former glory, but in the meantime drops a bomb on Trina and Dan.
Well, I thought I should be here when Zane arrives.
Zane's coming?
Turns out cousin Zane is a total dweeb that Trina and Dan prank all the time, which their parents forbid after what happened last time. Agreeing to the conditions, the kids check out Slappy again, and find he has a card in his pocket, which Trina just reads aloud.
Karu Marie, Odana, Loma, Malonu, Karano.
That's never a good sign. The next day at breakfast, Slappy joins the family at the table, with his face miraculously healed entirely. But the family just assumes Dad did a really great job at gluing.
Daddy did a good job of gluing him back.
That's right. I should have been a surgeon,
Anyways, cousin Zane shows up and we find out he's a really young Darth Vader. So Dan and Trina are extra bold messing with him, lest they incur an Order 66 later on. The cousins then exchange some awkward small talk.
So, you don't have to worry about that old cow. Died.
Oh, well, that's good.
As Zane explains his new photography hobby, it's clear his cousins do not give a shit, but he tries his best to show them his skills.
Beautiful. Cross your arms and maybe lean a bit to that side. Oh, beautiful. You're happening. You're here. Oh, great stuff.
After Zane sees Slappy, he jumps in fear, dropping his self-help book he was using to stop being so scared.
Conquering your fears?
Is there a problem with that?
Turns out Zane hates dummies, which makes it even stranger that he has to stay with a former ventriloquist. That night, as Zane is sleeping, he's visited by a dummy and goes full Anakin against the sand people on it, using the most feather-stuffed pillow you've ever seen. Someone pranked Zane, but nobody wants to own up to it, so Dad makes both kids clean the room. The next day as punishment, the kids have to clean the whole house, but Zane still apologizes for getting the two in trouble and offers to show them how photo developing works. But while going over his photos, he notices that the film roll is full of pictures of dummies, upsetting Zane even more.
Thanks a lot, you guys.
Zane?
No, really, thanks a lot.
Zane?
As even further punishment, the kids have to do even more cleaning, as they both refuse to admit either one had a hand in the pranks. Getting the whole family together, Dad thinks the best way to break Zane's fear is to teach him how the dummies work. But while everyone is distracted by Mom asking about dinner, Slappy gives Zane a swift kick to the leg.
The dummy kicked me.
Well, Zane, that's just not possible.
What did you do?
I didn't do anything.
Thinking everyone in the family is out to get him, Zane threatens to leave. But Mom calms him down and assures him that dinner is going to be great. But when the family gets to the dining room, they see the whole table has been vandalized. And even worse, the main course is missing.
At least we still have the roast.
Oh no! My roast!
That night, Dad packs up all the dummies so the kids can't use them for pranks anymore, and tells the kids they can't go to summer camp because of those pranks. After going to bed, Trina hears a scuffle in the attic and goes to check it out, finding Dan, who is staking out the dummies to catch the prankster in the act. As the two are blaming each other, Zane comes up in the attic to mess with the dummies.
And they thought I was afraid of you?
The siblings jump out and catch Zane by surprise, dragging him downstairs. But what's even more surprising is the kid in the Slappy costume.
Let me show you how the pros do it.
Like we aren't going to notice Slappy is suddenly twice as tall and has completely different proportions. Anyway, Slappy breathes his green gas into the rest of the dummies to have a full squad to terrorize the family. The next day, Zane is mowing the grass with an old push mower as punishment. The kids finally find some common ground with their cousin and start talking more naturally. So the parents decide to head out for the night and celebrate the kids getting along. As the kids are hanging out alone, Trina goes downstairs to get some drinks when she notices dummies hanging from the fan. Trina and Dan call out Zane for pushing the joke too far, but he swears he didn't do it. The two don't believe him until they notice Slappy is now sitting on the table, and also he's friggin' huge now. Zane decides the dummies can't be really alive, so he instigates Slappy until he finally kicks him down.
Well, how come he won't do anything now, huh? How come? Ow!
You didn't say please.
The kids go running through the house being chased by another kid dressed like Slappy. Eventually they come to their senses and realize he's literally just a dummy that they can overpower, so they pin him to the ground and make Zane get his case to lock him away. After locking him up in the case, the three kids take him out to the well and dump him into the water. Case closed, easiest monster to defeat in the world. After the encounter, the kids aren't really sure what to do.
So, I guess we should just go to bed, right? Right.
So while they're trying to sleep, Trina is once again visited by Slappy.
Not for me. Frog in my throat.
After that, Slappy runs into Zane's room and breathes his green mist into his face. But by the time the kids break in, the room is full of dummies, and Zane himself has been transformed. Dan and Trina run away to try and think of a way to beat Slappy and turn Zane back. Trina deduces that the card she read must have been magic, so they need to find a way to get it and read it again. In the attic, the dummy Army and Zane are waiting motionless, so the kids sneak up on them, trying not to draw their attention. As Dan tries to pull the card from Slappy's pocket, the dummies come to life and try to turn Dan.
Now it's your turn.
As Slappy is recovering from the gut check, Trina reads the words on the card backwards, and all the dummies slump over lifeless once again. Or so you thought. Slappy tells the kids they're going to be his slaves from now on, but the kids appeal to the family dummy Rocky to save them. So Rocky clocks Slappy in the face and lays a smackdown on his dummy ass, ultimately throwing him out the attic window. But Slappy manages to hang on to a storm drain.
Don't you get it? I'm invincible!
Holy shit! Now we see where all that budget went. After Slappy explodes, Rocky slumps over and Zane comes back to normal, meaning the magic of the dummy must have exploded as well. The next day, Zane's dad comes over to pick him up, and the kids agree that meeting up is pretty fun. So the siblings see their cousin off.
Bye, Zane.
See ya. I'll be seeing you real soon, cousins.
So Zane is still dummified, but not fully dummified, just enough to turn his head in a circle. Just enough to be a threat.
Never trust someone with that much spine mobility.
Life lessons from the mask himself. But anyway, the book and the episode are pretty different in terms of how Zane is introduced and shown. So Zane plays a much smaller role in the book. He never finds out that Slappy is alive, so he's never turned into a dummy himself. At the climax of the book, the kids are upstairs with all of the dummies around them, and Zane finds them and is like, hey, you guys have been pulling pranks this whole time, so I'm going to get you in trouble. And then the kids get back at him by giving him the lifeless Slappy doll, and, you know, Slappy turns out to be alive when he's driving away. Also, yeah, I should probably explain that Slappy does not explode in the book. No, he just kind of gets his ass beat by all the dummies until his magic runs out and they all just kind of slump.
I never got beat up by other masks. Just saying.
You were beaten by true love. Twice. That's way worse. Personally, I think the episode made a much better call here by expanding Zane's role, because Hayden Christensen was by far the best part of the episode. He's a much better actor than the other two kids, and he plays this role of this sheepish kind of bully victim like very well. It's very believable. Also in the episode, the kids kind of see eye to eye and set aside their differences, and that feels a lot better to me as a conclusion than in the book, where nothing really gets resolved. Zane's still blaming them, they're still blaming Zane, and they give him an evil doll as payback. Like, that's messed up. By Goosebumps standards, this episode is a pretty slow burn. We get all the way to the end of the first part before Slappy even says anything, and they really take their time here. And then also that sort of mid two-parter twist of Slappy not being involved in all the dummy pranks. It's just Zane pranking the kids back. That's good stuff. I liked that. You know, it kind of keeps you guessing, and we would expect, you know, all of this stuff to be Slappy's doing, but they pulled a sneaky on you. And with that being said, the ending was still kind of rushed. I mean, Slappy wasn't very threatening for most of the episode. I mean, the kids just kind of pin him down and throw him in a well, whatever. Trina kicks him in the gut and he's just like reeling from it. Other than what the episode changed, him turning Zane into a doll, he doesn't really do a whole lot that would, you know, be terrifying. So, you know, not the greatest outing for the villain. But with all that in consideration, I'm still going to have to give Night of the Living Dummy Part 3 5 bumps on the 5 bump meter, because it's a classic. You have to watch this one. All of the Night of the Living Dummies and coming up in the future Bride of the Living Dummy required viewing for any Goosebumps experience. I mean, he's the icon for a reason. He's the main guy.
And the Haunted Mask too.
You're not going to let that go, are you? Okay, but anyway, 5 out of 5. Check it out, especially if you have a cousin coming over to visit for the weekend that's afraid of dummies, but is also a future Sith Lord. You know, watch your back on that one, because he'll pull that 180 head movement on you and, you know, 66 you. It's different from 69. You're both facing the same direction. You know, let's not get into that. I'll see you guys next time on Viewer Beware.
At least we still have the roast.
Oh no!